Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of You.Gov. You.Gov is all about you and the government. We talk about government functions, government policies, as well as citizens' corresponding obligations. You have a role to play in the development of your society. I also have my role to play, and it's also an opportunity for us to make you involved in affairs of government. I am Itohan Olomu-Agbodo. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. This week, we are taking a look at two controversial bills currently before the Nigerian Senate. The first is the social media bill with the long title Protection from Internet Falsehood and Manipulation 2019. It is a bill seeking to regulate Nigeria's social media space, and it has passed second reading at the Senate. Despite the criticism it attracted when it was first introduced to the upper legislative chamber of the National Assembly, the bill on Wednesday, November 20, 2019, passed the second reading with the support of majority of the lawmakers. The bill passed the second reading after its sponsor, Sani Musa, senator representing Niger East, moved a motion for a debate on the proposed law. Only one lawmaker, Senator Chimaroke Unamani, opposed the bill. Also, the hate speech bill also passed through second reading and initially imposed the death penalty for anyone found violating the provisions of that law.
A bill for an act to make provisions for the protection from internet falsehood and manipulations and for related matters 2019 second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to report back in 4 weeks.
More to come on the show.
Now on StarTimes channel 465 is your #1 Christian and lifestyle channel, Love World Plus, meeting all your entertainment needs. Trending, dedications, joyride, celebrity lounge, video tales, and so much more. For those of you who love current affairs, we've got you covered. News focus, strictly politics, the agenda, You.Gov, and so on. Be sure to always be in the know with our informative programs, as we also get you settled with amazing documentaries like A Day in Your Neighborhood, Discover Africa. These will blow your mind. The youths and kids are not left out, as we have created a platform for them to speak, learn, and have fun. And to crown it all, we serve fresh, hot, and sizzling foods to feed your spirit, soul, and body. That is Pastor's programs. There's never a dull moment with us. So make it a date on channel 465 as we take you on a smooth journey to cater to all your needs. Love World Plus, channel 465 on StarTimes.
You're welcome back if you just joined us. This is You.Gov, and this week we are taking a look at two controversial bills before the Nigerian Senate. At the moment, the bills have actually scaled through second reading, but there are 9 stages a bill has to pass before it becomes law. So we still have a say in making these bills not to see the light of day. So we have a duty to actually stop these bills. These two bills are the hate speech bill, which was introduced some years back but has been reintroduced again in the 9th Senate, and the social media regulatory bill. That's a short name for that second bill, and the major sponsor of that bill is Senator Sani Abdullahi, and a lot of people have been saying these bills are infringing on the rights of citizens to freedom of expression as guaranteed by the 1999 Constitution. We went to speak with some lawyers, and we have their opinion for you.
Actually an infringement to the constitutional rights to the freedom of expression of thought and conscience, because it irrational for the government. So even for it to even be proposed in the first place, it doesn't make sense. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. Because I was actually looking at it from the perspective, we've been hearing rumors that the president intends running for the third term. And if such happens, definitely the most northerners will want such to actually take place. But we here in the south would always clamor against that. I think they're actually trying to suppress us, to take away our voice, to make us not be able to actually express ourselves. Because if you say anything, you can be held both on the social media or anywhere. So I call on the senators and also for the entire Nigerian government to actually come look at that bill and actually throw it out of the waste bin.
Actually, the issue of hate speech is something that the National Assembly is trying to look into. But I don't think the approach they are taking is the right step, in the sense that when the National Assembly decide to pass a law that anyone that caught in the act of making such hate speech, either on social media or anywhere, that the consequence has to be a death sentence. So I don't just think that's the right thing.
Freedom of expression is a fundamental right for any democratic society. So if you are talking about hate speech, how do you define hate speech? What quantifies hate speech? There are so many decimals. You say is it subjective or is objective? The word I will use is hate speech. The person that determines hate speech is the person that will be presiding over the matter. Even if you create a definition of it in the law, who interprets it? It is still subjective. So, and moreover, there are other laws that cover these things. If you have a problem with the speech of someone, there's libel, defamation of character, slander. You have libel and slander under that. You have, if it's seditious speech, and you can even charge the person under the criminal code. So really, why duplicate the law?
Well, concerning the proposed hate speech law, which is still a bill anyway, well, I think it's a total waste of time and a total waste of taxpayers' money as well. The Cyber Crimes Act, if I remember very well, section 26 thereof, already covers everything the hate speech bill is seeking to cover. And ordinarily, if that becomes a law, it will now be what has become a general norm in our country, duplication of laws. Then also, we have the National Orientation Agency, which is operating. It is not defunct. Why do we need to create another commission to be watching or monitoring hate speech? Already the government has said that we don't have money. So when we now establish another commission, so now we will now start giving money that we don't have ordinarily to another commission again that is totally needless in the first place. So why are we just? I really don't understand what it is. I haven't seen the bill itself, but I've heard about it, and generally I don't think there's a need for that.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think that bill is necessary as it is. Yes, we already have a lot of laws in Nigeria that are supposed to regulate speeches. So to now begin to create another commission just to control what they call hate speech, I don't think is...
Those bills, they're obnoxious. They're not in the interest of the public or the masses. Yes, I think the sponsors must be selfish. They're not going to be good laws. Whereas we expect them to make good laws that will be in the interest of the masses. I'm not sure those laws are going to be one of them if they are passed eventually.
quite interesting. Lawyers will always be lawyers. They have said it in their own way. These two bills are not good for democracy. These two bills are infringing on the fundamental rights of citizens. We also have another lawyer who will be talking to us in-house. He is Prince Uzeme, and he's going to share his view about these two bills. Take a listen.
Generally, I think it is disappointing that the Nigerian Senate or the legislature is considering bills that seek to abrogate or to limit the freedom of expression of its citizens. I should expect that what the Senate should be considering should be bills that will expand the right of the citizen to make himself heard. Because as correctly enshrined in our Constitution, especially Section 38 and Section 39 specifically of the Constitution, those sections give the citizen the right to express himself freely. Freedom of thought, conscience and religion, and freedom of expression. Those rights are constitutionally guaranteed and fundamental human rights that should not in any way be limited in any way. And what the Senate is trying to do by bringing those two bills out on the floor is to say that Section 39 of the Constitution is not correct, that you no longer have the right to express yourself as you deem fit. Now, the issue is that if the Senate is considering this kind of bills, are there existing laws in Nigeria that have covered the field, so to speak, when it comes to offenses that could be committed by as a product of speech and all of that? We have a number of laws that already in our body of laws that could cater for issues like this. So the issue now is that why does the Senate deem it fit to come up with two fresh bills that in essence are only serving to abrogate or to limit the right of the citizen to express himself freely? And another question that needs to be raised is that what is this limit that we are bringing in here? Limit to what? Limit to speech that favors you, or limit to speech that the kind of talk or writings that is favorable to you and your interests, or those against it. Meetings, a lot of people say that what these bills are going to achieve is simply to silence the voice of the opposition, to silence the right of the civil society organizations to be able to speak up, especially when the rights of ordinary citizens are being trampled. So my first thoughts on the two bills that are currently being considered by the Senate is that those bills should not be considered at all in the first place, and two, they only seek to silence the voice of dissent, to silence the voice of the citizens, and to silence the voice of the opposition. So in totality, I am opposed to these bills scaling through on the floor of the House. The bill in itself, like you said, is selfish. The bill in itself is a bill that should not be allowed to stand. It is a constitutional provision that any law that comes in conflict with the Constitution cannot be allowed to stand. Section 39 of the Constitution has clearly given the citizen the right to express himself freely. Whether you like what he is saying or not, he has that right. You may not like what that citizen is saying, but his right to say it cannot be limited in any way. Why do we need to bring in a bill that basically seeks to import the climate, seeks to import the political environment, seeks to import the nuances of a different society into our country? We should bring up bills that cater to the peculiarities of us as a people. We do not need a bill that freezes the right of the citizen to make himself heard. And let's look at the bill itself. We have seen so many provisions of the bill, and the most controversial one is the one that stipulates the death penalty for a certain kind of what they call hate speech. In the pantheon of laws, in the pantheon of crimes, let's ask ourselves a question. For a crime of rape, you have imprisonment. For a crime of manslaughter, taking another person's life, you have the punishment of life imprisonment. For armed robbery and other things, you have imprisonment. Now, ask yourself the question, what makes speech so grievous? What makes speech so bad that its punishment is higher than even the punishment for manslaughter and for armed robbery? That's a question that needs to be asked. Why do you need a death penalty for a hate speech? Why do you need death penalty for something that is proceeding from the mouth of a person? Like I said before, we have a lot of laws that are already catering for offenses relating to speech. We have the laws concerning sedition. We have laws relating to libel and slander. We have so many that the state could fall back on. Even the recently passed Cyber Crime Act of 2015 has adequately covered the field when it comes to offenses concerning speech and writings. Why then do we need to bring in laws that are specifying the death penalty for offenses concerning speech? Those are the issues that we need to be considered. What is so grievous in speech that because I don't like what you said, or you say that the speech, what I said, has led to something somewhere, and therefore that person should be put to death by hanging? That is ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense at all. The Senate has informed us that, they've listened to the cries of the people, and they are now, based pursuant to what the people want, removing the death penalty from that bill. The first question that should be asked is that, should we have that bill in the first place? Removing the death penalty is not what is needed to be done. What is needed to be done is that that bill should immediately die a natural death on the floor of that Senate, because the bill is against everything fundamental. The Constitution has clearly stated that anything that derogates from the fundamental human rights of the citizens of the nation should not be allowed to stand. A bill that seeks to limit the power or the freedom, the scope of expression of its citizens should not be allowed to stand. So Senator Sabi Abdullahi and his cohorts in the Senate that have told us that they've now removed the death penalty from the bill, which I know as at today they've not done, and therefore we should start rejoicing. I send a message directly to them that that is unacceptable. That bill should not even be considered at all, because the bill is against the fundamental human rights. And anything that is against the fundamental human rights of the citizens of this nation should not and must not be allowed to stand.
That was Prince Uzeme, quite passionate about the two bills and saying these bills must not see the light of day. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back with the remaining parts of that interview. You're welcome back. This is still You.Gov, and this week we are taking a look at two controversial bills before the Nigerian Senate, and they've actually scaled through the second reading. We are hoping that they would die a natural death, actually. And we still have Prince Uzeme, a legal practitioner in the House, who is sharing his opinion about these two bills. Take a listen.
There are more than enough laws in the Nigerian legal space that caters for offenses relating to speech and writing. The truth of the matter is that we have different laws. We have the offense of sedition, which is saying something that leads to the legitimacy of the government being questioned. We have laws that relate to libel and slander, even though those are laws that concern private individuals, between an individual and another individual. The state in itself has more than enough laws already catering for this without prescribing the kind of punishments that this hate speech bill is prescribing. Like I stated before, we have the Cybercrime Act that was enacted in the year 2015, which adequately covers the field. So I do not see any reason why we are bringing up a speech that we are calling hate speech. So when you come up with a law that seems to favor the government of the day, tomorrow, when there's another government in power that is the opposite from your ideology, you, the sponsor of the bill, will not be the victim of the law that you helped to bring about a few years back. So my thinking here is that we do not need that bill at all, because if not, we will all be devoured by it. First will be those that lean to the left. The next administration will be those that lean to the right. And at the end of the day, each and every Nigerian will be affected one way or the other negatively by this bill. So we do not need these bills, and they must die a natural death. We are watching the bills keenly, and we believe that the Senate will come to see reason with Nigerians and come to see that this bill is a bill that is not only anti-democratic, it's a bill that will fuel dictatorship, it's a bill that will kill dissent, it's a bill that will silence the opposition, it's a bill that will be tantamount to ensuring that the citizens no longer have their right to speak. So it's a bill that must not be allowed to stand, because it's a bill that goes against everything democratic, and it goes against everything civil as we know it today. Let's not beat about the bush when it comes to the attempts of government or the further attempts of government to regulate the media or the broadcast industry, whether it be print media or television media or radio media. The government has no right to regulate the media. The media is taken as the Fourth Republic, is taken as the last bastion for the people, or the last bulwark that the people can run into. So when you say that, some sections of the media or a particular place in the media is saying things that are against you and therefore they should be regulated, I think this should not be done. Because if this is done, when you don't have a free and a vibrant press, democracy cannot thrive. Anybody that in this nation that has democracy at heart, that has the maintenance of our hard-earned democracy that we've had from 1990 now, should not in any way regulate the media. Look at the United States, for example. CNN is a media arm that is clearly against the current president. Fox News is for the president. It is a balance. There must be a balance in the media. So the media must not in any way be regulated. So we cannot clamp down on a section of the media because they are raising criticisms of the government. What the government needs to do, what we advise the government to do, is to look at those criticisms, because if it is from criticisms that constructive dialogue and resolutions of issues come up, where a particular section of the media is saying that the government is not working as it should, that there are no roads, that the hospitals are not functioning properly, that the schools are not as they should be. Instead of the government to try to stifle or to silence that section of the media, the government should do an introspective search and ask itself that could there be some truth in what has been said? Even if there's a lot of exaggerations in what has been said, the government should take that as a push to do the right thing for the people, because that is why they are there in the first place as a government. My sincere recommendations for the government, number one, is that the two bills currently being considered by the Senate, the hate speech bill and the social media bill, if the Senate does not do the right thing and the bills scale through to the president's table, it is my sincere and ardent recommendation that the president immediately refuses to sign these bills, because these bills are seeking to abrogate the fundamental human rights of the people. Secondly, I will tell the government to be more listening, because sometimes it is from the mouth of your enemy that you find truth. Most of the time, you find a lot of sycophants around the government, people that will not be able to tell the government truth. So the government needs to do a complete turnaround and look at the mouths of the people they perceive as enemies to get the truth of some of these policies or the effect of these policies on the people. It is only then that you can then be able to stand up as a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. That is my advice for this government.
Wow, some salient points there, and he's actually recommending to the government, to the federal government, that if these bills actually pass through the Senate and get to the table of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, that he should not assent to those bills. When he assents to those bills, they'll become law. That is what we do not want. We have some more tidbits for you. Well, it's been a very interesting episode and quite stimulating academically, and we would like to hear from you. We'd like to get your comments on our website on www.loveopplause.tv. You can also send messages to the number shown on your screen now, and you can also reach us via email on our email info@loveopplause.org. I'm Olomu-Agbodo. God bless Nigeria.